We have the Subaru Ascent, and we'd like to thank Doc Stetter Subaru in Vancouver for lending us this vehicle to review.
And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised because the Ascent isn't always top of mind. So let's get in, have a look around. Well, Andrea, we're in the Subaru Ascent. I think it's one of those vehicles a lot of people don't know exists, and we're going to get into that. But first, what's under the hood?
A 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine matched with a CVT, 260 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque, standard all-wheel drive.
As we go through this, I think you're going to see that there's a lot of value with this Ascent, and it comes with a lot of stuff. So let's get into the key standard features.
Here are the base model features in Canada: a 6.5-inch touchscreen, 4.2-inch LCD display, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, 8-passenger seating, 8-way power driver's seat, heated cloth seats, 4-way manual passenger seat, LED headlights, 18-inch wheels and an 18-inch spare tire, and EyeSight Driver Assist Technology.
So Subaru Ascent comes with standard X mode. What else can we put it in?
You got to put it in S for subscribe, and if you can hit the notification bell, you'll be notified when all those videos drop, and then you can watch them.
And 5 of them a week. We do this, a couple car review, every Wednesday.
We do another couple car review on Saturday.
Monday, it's the live show.
Tuesday is always a comparison.
And Friday, it's some cool old or collectible car. And the only way to find out is to subscribe and also follow Andrea's Instagram, Motormouth_Andrea. For me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below. This video is brought to you by Canada Drives. Shop online for your next used vehicle and enjoy the convenience of to-your-door delivery and the confidence of a 7-day love it or return it guarantee. Visit canadadrives.ca to learn more. All right, Andrea, if you took 10 people off the street and you got them to drive the Ascent, how many would figure out without knowing that this had a 4-cylinder turbo?
I don't think that they would. It has plenty of power. It's smooth. It handles really well in the city. You certainly don't feel like you're driving such a large vehicle, and the turning radius is very good.
I really believe this drives a lot smaller than it actually is. So if you're somebody that needs a 7 or 8 passenger utility but doesn't want to drive a monstrosity, this one drives smaller. All of the attributes you get with Subaru: huge windows, big doors, a low sort of what they call belt line. It feels more like a Forester than anything else.
You know, even getting in and out of that second row, it is just so easy. What a breeze.
Now with carry-on and a cooler, with all 3 rows up, it fits, but there's not a ton of space.
It's actually not bad when it compares to the competition. It keeps up with them, as well as in overall cargo capacity too, with the Atlas having the most.
So I think people who are shopping looking for a turbo 4-cylinder, the obvious competitor is the CX-9, but it does actually have more power than some 6-cylinders.
It does, and I think that when you drive this 4-cylinder, you'll see that there is adequate amount of power. It actually has more torque than the new Pathfinder, which is a V6, so don't knock the Turbo 4 until you try it.
But it does have a continuously variable transmission. But this is an in-house continuously variable transmission. And don't think it's like the old Pathfinder CVT. They do a very good CVT at Subaru. It's a high torque CVT that they used to use also in the Forester Turbo. This is actually really well done.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I would say Subaru CVT and Honda CVT are one of the best out there. What do you think of the look, Zach?
Well, my issue with the Ascent is I think a lot of people don't even know this exists because it doesn't look really different from the rest of the family. So it just looks like a slightly bigger Forester. I wish it had its own character. I kind of understand they have a family resemblance, but in my opinion, it's too much of a family resemblance.
This comes standard with a dark gray grille and 18-inch wheels, body colored door handles. Our top trim that we're test driving is the Premier, and it has a dark, high gloss black grille with chrome door handles and 20-inch wheels. I like the chrome chrome on here. I think it's a nice contrast. It looks sharp.
Especially with a dark color like this.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the biggest hurdles Subaru has with this product, is a lot of people aren't even aware it exists. And inside it's the same thing, but in this case it actually works in their favor. This is a similar dash to what you get in other Subaru products,
yeah.
but they do a good job. Like we mentioned, they know how to do functional vehicles, and this works.
Well, what I'm impressed with is the trims and the fact that you can get bench seat or captain's chairs on the lower trims. You don't typically see that in 7 to 8 passenger vehicles.
You don't at all. You always have to get the top trim.
Yeah.
Like the Pathfinder, for example, we're using Pathfinder because we just drove the brand new one.
Yeah.
You got to get the top trim to get the captain's chairs.
Yeah.
You want them in this, you don't have to go full jam.
You can get cloth seats, captain's chairs. When do you ever hear that? That's on the touring trim, and there's really good value on it. That would probably be our best value trim. You get the panoramic sunroof and this 8-inch screen. You're moving up from the 6.5-inch standard screen, and I think that that's a big deal.
So you might be wondering, how does this stack up in size compared to other 3-row SUVs? We're actually going to tackle that in just a moment in Question Coffee and Cars.
Now, if you're looking for a few extra features and you can make the stretch an extra $5,000 from the touring trim and get the limited trim, that's the one that I would get. It has the heated steering wheel, it has power passenger front seats, heated rear seats, and then the Harman Kardon sound system, which I think sounds really good.
So Subaru has some nice features that you don't find in other vehicles. Not on all trims, but on this one you have a forward-facing camera. You hit the button, and on the smaller screen it pops up. This is really good if you're going over gravel roads or things you can't see over a crest of a hill. You can use that. Also, I mentioned it earlier, X mode is an additional low-speed traction and stability program that really gets the all-wheel drive system working to get you out of sticky situations.
And one thing that this Ascent has is 8.7 inches of ground clearance, which is much better than some of its competition, like the Pilot and the Highlander.
All right, time for coffee and questions.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Nice, a very Subaru standard looking interior design. I like it. How is the feel and how is the noise level? Thanks. Well, I think the noise level is pretty good when you're just cruising in the city or on the highway. When you accelerate a little bit harder, passing people on the highway, it does get louder in the cabin for sure.
Okay, so think about, they used to have a Forester Turbo, which is basically what this is. It's just bigger. There was a lot of complaints about that engine. So it has a pretty composed ride and handling and noise, considering it's a Turbo 4.
And the fit and finish in here is quite nice. We have the top Premier trim. There's some...
As it should be.
As it should be. It's got a leather interior. You can get black or brown, and this has kind of a combo with some cream and some wood. I think it's actually quite nice.
Yeah, I like the simplicity of it. I do like that.
The first year production was notorious for repairs. Has this improved? You are right. The 2019 model had some issues. There were recalls, all under warranty. It has improved drastically. There are no issues with the model that we are reviewing, so Subaru has definitely improved on that.
Yeah, well, the good thing is if there were issues, they countered, and now it's recommended by Consumer Reports, right?
Yeah, Consumer Report says that owners' satisfaction with this product gives it a 4 out of 5 score. And when it comes to road tests, it's a 93 out of 100. So those are some pretty impressive numbers. How usable is the third row? That's always a concern with vehicles like this.
So even though you look at it and you think it looks small, the second row and the third row on all of these vehicles is always a sharing exercise.
Yeah.
You need to slide the second row forward to make enough room to get somebody in the third row, which is really for kids. That's the exercise with these vehicles. The third row is for kids, and it's just fine for kids.
The Atlas has the most third row room, but believe it or not, this Ascent keeps up with the Palisade, the Telluride, and the Explorer, and it has more third row space than the Highlander. How reliable is the pre-collision technology in this car or in the industry in general?
Can I jump in before we get going?
Sure.
It's very effective to the point where I like to switch off some of the notifications because it beeps and squeaks at you all the time. So I think it's maybe a little too proactive.
I like it. It makes me feel safe. I like being notified. It doesn't bother me that much. This Ascent is excellent. It received max ratings for all 6 IIHS crash tests, headlight system, and front crash prevention in vehicle-to-vehicle tests, as well as vehicle-to-pedestrian tests. So this is great news.
The two cameras up here, they call them stereo, two, looking down the road, are very good.
Yeah, really good. And that's it. Thank you so much for all your questions. Keep them coming.
Motormouth_Andrea to get a question in. And now, because you hear the music, it's time for Nightlife. We keep one question back from Questions, Coffee, and Cars and expand on it. It's our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
Can it compete with the competition? Why would I buy this 7 to 8 seater SUV over something like the Telluride or the new Pathfinder?
Well, one reason is fuel economy. We're going to get to the vital stats in just a moment. This gets excellent highway fuel economy. Also, you know, variety is the spice of life. This is very different feeling than those big vehicles like the Telluride. As we mentioned at the beginning, it drives much smaller. So if you're somebody that's opposed to having a massive feeling vehicle, this one will deliver the goods.
I like the value on this. It starts at under $37,000 Canadian for all-wheel drive. The Highlander and the Pathfinder are just under $44,000, and the Telluride and Palisade, you're coming in at over $46,000. It offers a lot, and if you're on a tight budget and you're just trying to get your family around town, maybe do some carpooling to sporting activities, this is the one for you.
It's a bit of a hidden gem, actually.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are just not aware that Ascent exists. And as I mentioned earlier, I think it's because it looks like a Forester from 10 paces. You don't notice the difference.
Yeah.
So people don't even know this exists.
No.
And that's why we're here to tell you, if you're somebody that wants good fuel economy, wants space, wants to move around easily, this is pretty good.
And the value.
All right, what else can you buy with all of your money?
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is the Toyota Highlander. It has a 3.5-liter V6 engine with an 8-speed automatic transmission, 295 horsepower, and a starting price of just under $44,000.
Next is the Volkswagen Atlas, the largest in the group, with 2 engines, a base 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder engine with 235 horsepower and a starting price of just over $40,000. The 3.6-liter V6 has 276 horsepower and a starting price of just under $47,000.
The Honda Pilot has a 3.5-liter V6 engine with a 9-speed automatic transmission, 280 horsepower, and a starting price of just under $43,000.
Here's our used car alternative from CanadaDrives.ca. We chose a 2017 Mazda CX-9 GSL. L stands for leather. With just over 54,000 kilometers, is just $26,990 Canadian. Click on the tab or the link in the description below to find more vehicles in this category from Canada Drives.
So there are 4 7 to 8 passenger SUVs for you to consider.
So right now we're going to do our vital stats. What do people need to pay attention
Oh,
to?
pay attention to the resale value on this. It's quite impressive.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's start with pricing. The base model Ascent starts at just under $37,000. Our best value touring trim is $42,500, and the premier top trim that we're testing is just under $51,500. JD Power gives the 2021 Ascent an overall score of 80 out of 100 and a quality and reliability score of 79 out of 100. CarEdge states the Ascent will retain 60% of its value after 5 years.
Here's the fuel economy. 11.6 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 9 liters on the highway, 21 miles per gallon city, 27 miles per gallon highway. The towing capacity is 5,000 pounds. The Ascent has a 3-year, 60,000 kilometer or 36,000 mile warranty. Lightning round, two things you like to see improved.
I like the size of this. It doesn't feel like I'm driving a huge vehicle in the city, and I like the way it handles. What I'd like to see an improvement on is make the 8-inch touchscreen standard, and also the badging. How about if I buy this premier trim that it says I have the premier trim? Give me some props.
I like the price. Great starting price for sure. And the engine is a surprise. What I like to have, it has nothing to do with this. I just want this engine, this transmission in a Forester. Subaru worked that out. And also, they should make it look different than the rest of the family. Get some credit for the fact you even sell this thing.
If you want great value, you're going to find it right here with the Ascent in this 7 to 8 passenger vehicle.
All right, thanks again to Dockstetter Subaru here in Vancouver for letting us borrow this for a couple of days. We do appreciate it.
This video is brought to you by Canada Drives. Shop online for your next used vehicle and enjoy the convenience of to-your-door delivery and the confidence of a 7-day love it or return it guarantee. Visit canadadrives.ca to learn more.